Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with a Screenwriter's Rant on a trailer called Vanquish, starring Morgan Freeman, who is back, and Ruby Rose. What a combo. The premise of the movie is Morgan Freeman is a retired police commissioner. So that seems to be a role he could play. Little Joan, here, you want to come up here? Okay. That seems to be a role appropriate for Morgan Freeman as at his advanced age. And Ruby Rose is her caretaker, his caretaker, but she's also a former Russian mafioso criminal who ran drugs for the Russian mob. And so Freeman arranges for her daughter to be kidnapped she seems really thrilled about it, doesn't she? Let's see a shot again of her being thrilled. Where the heck is it? I can see that picture again. It's funny. Yeah. So like, I guess you're going to kidnap me. And Freeman's like, okay, you got to make these 5 stops for me, and you'll get your daughter back. So this is actually a role that Ruby Rose can really play. This seems more appropriate for her than Batwoman or even the John Wick thing. This seems like a real character. She gets to do her action, and she seems, and she's using guns. She's not beating guys up. I think it's better that she's more, gun oriented. She's riding a motorcycle as she likes to do in a lot of her roles. So it's sort of like a more realistic Batwoman, I guess, when you think about it, except for the guns. So she's got to take out all these criminals and pick up all this drug money, and she does, and it's written by the guys, or one of the guys who wrote Bad Boys and Midnight Run. And let me tell you something, Midnight Run's an awesome movie if you've never seen it, with Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin, right? Yeah. And Bad Boys, first Bad Boys is good too, with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. So I think this could be decent. Now the trailer is pretty standard. It sets it up okay, and she's shooting people left and right. But beyond that, there doesn't seem to be a tremendous amount of character in a lot of the actors here. They just seem to be your generic criminals. Ruby Rose does her brooding thing. She keeps demanding her daughter back, which is good motivation in a movie. And Morgan Freeman, who seems to want to play heavies now, seems to want to play bad guys. That's kind of what happens, I think, to actors like him. For a while, they're in the leads because they're popular, and as their star starts to wane and the careers start to end, he starts to play heavies because he's still a name, but he's too old to be the lead. No one's going to follow Morgan Freeman in a wheelchair, wheeling about, shooting guys. So this seems like a good role for him. I remember Morgan Freeman from back in the day when he was Eazy-E on Electric Company. That's how old I am. Anyhow, first act, Morgan Freeman is wheelchair bound. He's got Ruby Rose taking care of him. He kidnaps the daughter and gives her the ultimatum: do these 5 drops for me, you have your daughter back. Ruby Rose has no choice but to do it. She gets into more and more gunfights. It gets crazier and crazier. Morgan Freeman keeps demanding that she do it for whatever reason. I assume we eventually find out that he's got some motivation for wanting to do all this. And then the third act is she turns the tables on Morgan Freeman somehow, either by getting her daughter back or tracking her down, and then she goes on a rampage, killing everybody who's between her and her daughter. And eventually ending with Morgan Freeman. So, I think it could be good. It's a weird name, Vanquish. It doesn't seem appropriate for a crime movie per se like this, but it sounds cool. It's got a good cadence. Vanquish. But you know, unlike say John Wick, there's not a lot of character to this movie. There's not a lot of. Doesn't look like it's very fun. It just looks pretty, you know, pretty spot on. I'll say, you know, I don't think it'll be bad. I don't know if it'll be a standout. Let's say. So Vanquish, I don't know when it's coming. Sometime this year, and maybe Ruby Rose finally has a role that actually works for her.